So in this session, we're going to really focus in on rounding out the details. So when we were going through that shopping cart, you're probably like, Eddie, what is going on with this header? I don't see any of the menu. Well, right now the home page, this menu bar is what's set with a naked overlay. So meaning that the images behind show, so we're totally fine. But when we go to our sub pages, like our shop, well, that's right now is just using a standard menu bar, and since the background is white there, then none of our menu is showing up, and that is definitely a problem. And so we're gonna fix that first by going to this Aveda and our theme options, and then we're gonna just change out that header background color. Now, let's do that real quick. We're gonna look here, it's already header styling, that's where we're wanting to go. And right now that says the header background color is white. Well, clearly it's not gonna work with the white background, so I wanna probably choose something in a gray because I need the black and gold in the logo to stand out, but I also need my white and my font colors to stand out. So I need to make kind of an in-between color. What I would do if I was gonna be doing an extended design on this is I would make sure that every header on every single page actually was a picture or had some type of hero image on it so that I wouldn't have to worry about this for number one. Number two, something I could do is I could make the header all dark, like a dark gray, and then I could change out the logo where that white or that black font on the logo, I could make it white like it is in the footer. But a quick and simple solution would be to find a color that would work for both the white font and the black logo font, and I would say that would be something around this color gray. And we'll do the same thing with that archive header. I'm just gonna select those hex color. And if it doesn't work, we can always change it out. But this is where you change that header background color no matter what. You can, if this is something that you wanted to put purple, you could put it there. I'm gonna click change it, save changes. Something else, if you wanted to set up a site where, so sometimes this is an error that I mentioned earlier that sometimes you would get. It says there was a problem with your action, please try again. Sometimes I have to just click save, and I've seen that where it'll pop up, you know, sometimes 2 or 3 times in a row. I just keep hitting save, and then it will finally do it. So if you wanted to, you could actually choose a header background image that would be on all your pages as well. But I like to do that on a page-by-page basis, so I don't normally put a header background image right there. So now then, I can click on Golden Gorilla Bakery, go back to my site, and now when I click on shop, my header is gonna be gray. See that? And so there it is. That's definitely masculine. It's definitely more gray than I would want. I would probably go in here, like I said, redesign that, make this image larger, you know, change that out. But that actually is just gonna show you how to change out that header. So that's a rounding out detail. Another rounding out detail that I feel is very important is if I go to Aveda and theme options, I'm gonna make sure that I have my gold color selected. And so that's the hex. A lot of times when I've been using a hex color a lot in the website, I'll eventually just memorize it, and then that way I don't have to keep going back and copy and pasting it. I have one client that's 172DB3 is a blue color they use, and so I just remember it all the time. But this is important because there's a lot of little steps here. But if you go down here to Fusion Builder Elements, what I do is as I know that purple color was the color I was using before, what this theme was using before for the demo, I'm gonna replace that purple color with a gold color on every single one of these options. So I'll expand this and I'm like, oh, carousel navigation box. I have replaced it. And you'll notice that when I slide this down, that it adds some transparency. And so before they had added some transparency, so I add some transparency right here, you'll notice that's transparent as well. So I just put that in there and I just drag this down. These things I normally just guesstimate on. I literally just blow through this. I look at the chart, those colors look fine. This checklist icon, I'm gonna make it gold. I keep scrolling, my columns are fine. And this is one of the key areas of design for this theme is just changing out these colors. The content box title font color, the title icons, change those out. the background, the content box icon background, notice it's this light shade of purple. Since it's a really light shade, I'm actually just gonna change it to a light shade of gray. And that's the EEE one that's just a little darker gray than the F7. This accent color, same thing. I'm just going through here quickly and changing these out. Countdown, looks like those are all nice and gray, totally fine. Counter boxes. You ever seen those counters on a website that's like, we've had 36 cakes baked, 500 happy customers? Well, that's what this is a default color. A lot of these colors are gonna be able to be changed on individual items, but by default, they're gonna be this purple color or whatever color you choose. So we're gonna make sure that they at least look like the theme, and we don't want that purple color to be anywhere on the site. So I click Save Changes on that, and so we've changed out the header so that there's a difference in the color so that you can see your fonts. Again, that gray isn't what I would leave that as, but as you're designing, you get to choose those colors, you get to choose your logo. I just want to show you how to do that. Now then, I'm going to go over here to Golden Gorilla Bakery. And I think what is real important is changing out this contact form. Of course, when you have customers, they're going to want to contact you sometimes. And so this one comes with a lot of data in the contact form. I'm actually going to delete most of it. So I'll click Edit Page. I don't mind this Get in Touch, but you'll notice that there's a slight gradient on here. It's very subtle, but it's actually kind of got this pink light gradient color. This social networks box is on here. I really don't like it on a contact form. I mostly just like the contact form to have a place that people can put in their information and contact me. So I'm gonna delete all this stuff, and I'm just gonna start with a brand new blank container. This is a simple pre-built little container tool, and I usually want to put like one of these containers like this, which is a 1/3. So 1/3 of the page, I'm gonna have just like a little blurb on how to contact me and then some information. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna add an element here, which will be a text block. And then I'm gonna put contact Golden Gorilla. We love to hear from our customers. Got a question or some general feedback? Drop us a line and we will get back to you as soon as possible. If you have the ability to get back with these people in 24 hours and you can put that there and you can actually follow through, you might put back in there, we'll get back to you within 24 hours. If you know that it's gonna be possibly 2 to 3 days, you might actually tell them that. I believe that it's so important to communicate and set the expectation. Whenever an expectation has been set and you can follow through, then people are happy most of the time. Not everybody can be happy all the time, but I know that for me, when somebody tells me it's gonna be there within 7 days, I'm like, okay, 7 days, I can deal with that. And then it's there in 10, then I'm upset. I'm like, why didn't you call me at 5 days and let me know? So we've got this great little text box here. And the great thing about WordPress is you don't have to learn how to code anything. Used to, in order to create an H1 header, which is a heading one, the biggest header that you're gonna have, you would put like a bracket and an H1 on each side, and that's what this would look like. But in WordPress, you don't have to worry about coding anything. You just highlight this box, or highlight this text where it says Contact Golden Gorilla, drop this down and choose heading 1. Now, by default, that is gonna be whatever color we chose in the typography settings in the earlier video, which is gonna probably be that darker gray that's almost black. But on this page, I think it might be nice to make it a gold color, so I can just drop this down and it's gonna give me this little color, text color option right here. And you'll notice that this is very similar to Word. It has, an option to do bullet points, numbers, left and right justify, you can add a link. But I'm just gonna choose any color here that's like this really crazy yellow. Well, that is a very crazy yellow and I hate it. So I'm gonna go over here to this text. I'm gonna click on that. But you'll see that I already have all this code typed in there for me, and I just have to change out this hex right here with my gold color that I've got right here. And so I just choose that, delete the other hex, and I go to my visual, and there I've got Contact Golden Gorilla. It was real easy to change it out. It's gonna be specific to this page. I click save, and then if I want to right here, I can go, let's do a list. I can do a checklist, and I can be like phone, and it'll give me a phone icon. I can put that right there, and then I can click on this, and I can say, I might need to actually, let me cancel this. Let me uncheck that. I don't want to put this on the overall arching. I want to put the phone icon on the individual item. And so I need to do that from inside this box. I'm gonna do phone. I wonder if there's a little, oh, here we go. I like the little cell phone. 555-212. Okay, that looks good. Save. That should be the icon color, should be that gold. You could have divider lines in this. We'll say yes just so we can see what that looks like. It's got a nice little subtle color. And then I will add one more list item. I'm gonna make it my email, type up here. I'll grab one of these little email icons. I'm just gonna have this little @ symbol, that's different. And then I'll say baked at goldengorillabakery.com. And save, and then save. And I'll update that. All right, so there they are. It's nice. It's got my little icon, little @ symbol. Definitely could use some more padding. Definitely could use a little more zhuzhing up, as some people say. And so I'll click Edit Page. Well, let's go ahead and work on our forms. So if you go to Plugins, I would show you how to use Contact Form 7, but it's such a pain that I'm actually just gonna show you how to use Gravity Forms. Gravity Forms does cost more money, and so you can use Contact Form 7. It's just a plugin. It's installed very similarly, but Contact Form 7, oftentimes I have problems with it actually working, so I don't recommend it. So I'm gonna use Gravity Forms, and I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna upload it. And I believe I actually put it in here. Gravity Forms C. When I organized this stuff to set up, I added this Gravity Forms folder and put a copy in here so that I would know where it was at. I click Install Now. And while that's installing, I always open up my Gravity Forms, and I have this key. So as a website developer, you can buy a developer license for Gravity Forms, and I believe that it's $99 a year to use their forms on an unlimited number of sites. And so if you're gonna be using this form a lot and using it for multiple sites, I highly recommend doing that. And then you do pay an annual fee, but it saves you so much time. Even as a business owner, a small business or an entrepreneur, you might start with a bakery and then later decide you're gonna write a book, or you might write a children's book. Well, you might need a website for that as well. So you've already paid the $99 for this Gravity Forms. You just add it to that as well. You're good to go. So we got the Gravity Form installed and the plugins installed, but we still have to activate the plugin. So we'll just click here, activate the plugin, and I immediately go to Settings and register my copy by putting in the code. So there it is. I click Next. Keep background updates enabled. I just choose that and click Next. It asks me to select a currency. I don't actually know why, but I just leave the other settings, no conflict mode off and toolbar menu on. Click Next. And then I go ahead and I create a form. And I love anything that's drag and drop, but my form title is gonna be Golden Gorilla Main Contact. And I don't normally put a form description, but what I do make sure is that on my form titles, I make those pretty clear, because you might have a one contact form now, but then maybe later you create a form that's just for ordering, and you're gonna have drop downs and different things for people to be able to choose their cupcake flavors or their cake flavors. And this form allows for you to be able to easily add very large forms and set up a lot of great notifications. That's part of the reason why I love it so much, is that it's so much more robust, totally worth the fees for whatever I'm gonna use it for. So I click create form. So here we have our form page. We click create new form. This comes up. I immediately go down here to these advanced fields. I click on name, and it's gonna populate it over here to the left. I'm gonna click on email. There we go, email. And then if I go back up here to standard fields, I'm gonna choose paragraph text. The paragraph text, I almost always just put questions or comments, question mark. This is gonna be a required field. If you put maximum characters, this way it keeps people from writing a long, huge description. I would say 500 should be good enough for them to say what they need to say. It can also keep you from getting a lot of bot or spam mail coming in. And you can set up a capture or a CAPTCHA through Google to keep that from happening as well. But for right now, we're not gonna worry about that. Field size is fine there. On the email, I normally drop this down, make sure that that's chosen to be required. On the appearance, on this field size, I usually choose large. That just means it's gonna be stretched the full width of the other items in this column, in this row. And then on the first and last name, you also wanna make sure that that's required. If you wanna get any of this other information, these prefix or a suffix, if someone's like a Mr. or a Mrs., or a suffix, a junior or a third or a fourth, that's what that information is for there. Something else, and this is a very small minutia, but the form settings, I oftentimes tell it to put it above. That means that first name and last name, sometimes they're below the boxes, and I have them put it above the boxes. It just makes it easier for me to tell where things go. So our form is created. If I go to settings, I'm gonna go to notifications. This is very important. Once you set it up, the notifications are gonna default to go to whatever email was used to set up the website, the WordPress account. And that's considered the admin account. So here's this admin notification. I'm gonna click edit. So we've set up our form, but now we want to make sure that we set up our form notification. And so that means when somebody enters data into our form, we want to make sure that we get it. And this is actually pretty tricky because sometimes form emails can get lost and you never want that to happen. So for the name of the form, I like to make sure that I put a good name in there so that if I have multiple forms later, I can be like, okay, this is very specific. So this is just going to be the contact form, the main contact form on the site. And I'm gonna say GGB so that I know that if it comes to me and I have multiple businesses, that I know which main contact form it's talking about. On the admin email, if this site was set up through my different email address, I'm just gonna go ahead and put in my baked@goldengorillabakery.com. From name, I'm gonna choose the first name. I'm gonna put a space, choose this. This is the form, the information that they've entered into the form. And so this is just telling them, hey, pull that data, put it right here. And then on the email, you're gonna choose this email right here. It's considered email 2, and it should also be, so whenever I get an email, it's gonna be coming from this person on this form, and then this reply to is gonna be the person that I'm also replying to on this form. And then if you need to send this to a separate email address and give a blank carbon copy to, you can put that in right here. Sometimes I put it in here just as a backup, like, hey, I don't wanna make sure that I don't miss any emails. So I might put this personal email in here as well, or a Gmail account in there as well. So down here, I usually put in parentheses, this was sent from the main contact form on Gorilla Bakery. All right, and then I'm going to choose update notification. It's going to have this little warning in here and this from email that I just usually ignore that. It still will work. And then I'm going to go in here, go back to this Golden Gorilla Bakery. I go to contact. I'm going to edit this page. This page right now looks really boring. I'm going to jazz it up just a little bit. But first off, I need a little more spacing and padding above this form and below this form. It's really cramped in there. And so I'm going to go to my design and I'm just going to add like 20, I'm going to actually do 40 pixels of margin on the top and the bottom of this box. Once again, this is padding on the outside of the box, on the top and the bottom of it. And I should say margin, it's space above the outside of the box. We could use padding as well, but this is what I want to use right now for this, is margin. Then I'm going to click this box for the element. Once again, this theme has lots of cool elements, and one of the elements is gravity forms. Once you add a gravity form, it puts that element in there. It lets me select the form that I want, just like that. Display form title, I say no. Display form description, I usually say no. Enable Ajax, also no. Click update. And I got this nice form, looks really great. 0, I can type in here, Eddie Renz. Put in test@gmail.com. This is a test. And then just click submit. And it's gonna have this little box that says, thanks for contacting us. We'll get in touch with you shortly. So we just submitted that form, and we will make sure that that form actually worked once we submitted something through it. And so I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna check my email account, and I look here and it says new submission from Golden Gorilla main contact form. And then when I open it up, I have my name here, I put in this test email, and it says this is a test. And then right below here, it says this was sent from the main contact form on Golden Gorilla Bakery. And so we've got our forms working, we've got our website working good, contact looking good. I click back here on the home page, and our e-commerce is working. We have our shop. Our shop's gonna have just the one item that we've put in there so far, which is this cupcake. And that looks good. Once again, we didn't change up those background pictures or those different pictures. We just quickly created that. So the contact form is the last thing that I build whenever I'm creating a website. In between the home page and the contact form, you might have a journal, you might have a gallery, you might have other pages. But if you have that home page and the contact form, those are gonna be the building blocks for a great website. After I've got all this in place, I've built out my pages, then I move on to marketing.